get ready to quench your thirst for knowledge with a tall glass of dumb bitch juice of culture, feminism, and internet discourse through an intersectional lens. I'm your host, Azul, and Jane is out today, but I have our lovely guest and frequent dumb bitch visitor, Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. This is our first episode back after a couple weeks hiatus. You know, the world has been changing. These are very revolutionary times. Seems like we've been getting hit with like every horrible shit that could happen in the world, but here we are today.
Yeah, we have survived so far. I'm very proud of us. And I'm ready to be a dumb bitch again, honestly. It's been a while. I've been educating myself lately. I think this has been like such a turn and just like you said, revolutionary. But you know what? Sometimes you need to take a little break and be a dumb bitch again.
I completely agree. So one of the reasons why I really, it was great to take a break and reflect, take definitely some action in terms of, everything that's been happening with, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, among other countless people. Um, I think that the world definitely needs some dumb bitch juice right now to feel a little bit of joy again.
Yeah, bring us back down to earth, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of that, I kind of wanted to connect and just, what have you been doing during these past few weeks? Like, how have you been coping? We were hit by COVID, and then, a lot of rioting, protesting, a lot of people taking social justice action. Thankfully, I feel like a lot of America's cultural consciousness has been shifted a bit to be hopefully more aware, a little bit more self-educating happening. So, how have you been coping during this time, Ryan?
Just like that. I mean, honestly, I've been learning a lot. I've definitely opened my eyes to a lot more of what's going on in the world. I do think um, I've always liked to know what's going on, but I do think I definitely had that like shield up, the ignorance is bliss, where it's like if I don't pay attention to something, maybe it doesn't exist. But I think, um, especially now, it's been an awesome kind of reform, and I like how people are using their social media, and um, I feel like people are actually ready for a change right now, and it's a lot of fun. Well, not fun, but it's really great to watch. And I think joining in that discourse and being someone who's able to like listen and learn um, has been how I've been dealing with everything that's going on. And also, I have been. It's been nice to feel like now I'm using this time where we're in lockdown productively because it's not exactly what I thought I'd do to be productive. I thought I'd build an app and I'd, you know, um, learn a language and I'd, you know, pick up art again. But, I think this is such a powerful way of using my time.
Absolutely. And also, just kind reminder for everyone that, like, really during this time, absolutely, um, there's so many ways to contribute and use your activism, whether you have the funds or not. There's so much more beyond that you can do, but your job during this time is also to survive. I know COVID is impacting people and their mental health very differently. I know for me, definitely not great to be in isolation, but just a kind reminder to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, and if eating an extra slice of cheesecake helps you get through it, don't even worry about it. I promise. I seriously, when this happened, I was like, this is my time to shine. I'm gonna be on the treadmill every day. I'm gonna
Do
like
you have a
I'm
treadmill?
gonna I do. And I use it sometimes.
I
Maybe
don't
not
say
as
that like in
often as I'd like
disbelief.
to.
I didn't know that your
No,
family had one. Growing up, I
no.
always remember thinking people with treadmills, like their families were rich.
Well, that's what we are. We're not rich, but we're the people who literally will get credit card debt to buy these workout machines that we never use because we think we're going to change as people.
Yeah.
But I've used it. I go through kicks. There'll be like a week where I use it every single day, and then there'll be like 3 weeks that I take off. But It's there, and I'm lucky to have it. It's like an old LA Fitness one from a gym that like closed.
I
That
feel like
my
that's a
parents
lot
bought
more
it.
honest though than like people with Pelotons, because like when that Peloton commercial came out, everyone immediately shit on Peloton and like their valuation like plummeted, and then like quarantine happened and everyone's like, "Whew, I'm really glad, like got that Peloton class in." I'm like, really? Okay.
I ordered an elliptical because like that's my favorite machine, and then literally the next day I had to call and cancel it because I'm like, I can't spend this much money on some like high grade machine that I know I'm probably gonna end up not using.
What
But
is
I
it about
had like,
having workout equipment in your house that makes you so averse to using it? Because it's like I'll
I
go to the
know.
gym, but I feel like if I had it, I did that with weights. I had weights and like an ab roller, never used it. Use it at the gym, just not at home.
No, I totally agree. I think it's because like since it's right there, I'm the one I will get on that treadmill and be like, I'm not feeling it, and then just get off. Like, but if I'm at a gym, like I drove to the gym, I'm like, whatever, you can do 20 more minutes, like relax. You're already
Yeah.
here, just do it. Where it's like, oh, but like my bed's right there. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot easier to quit because it's like I can do it later because it's right here, but then I don't.
I'm sure also it's like the ritual of getting out of your house and going
Mm.
somewhere. You're like, this is now the time to engage and like workout stuff. Like, so I'm gonna do it. Whereas you're at home and there's like too many distractions.
Exactly. And like I was doing it before work. So it's like this is my workout time, then I go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a nice coffee, and then I shower, and then I go to work. Like it was just that schedule. So it's like I have to do this between 7 and 8 a.m. because like that's the time I have. And now it's like I work from home. So like I roll out of bed at 9:30 some days and get to work, or I or I can wake up early and try to do something productive. But
Yeah.
just like you said, it's all about survival right now. It really is. That's our one job, and you just need to focus on keeping yourself safe and yourself as healthy as possible and keep it rolling.
Is there anything that you've been indulging in, like be it like reality TV or cooking or I don't know, some new hobby, something like that that's like really been helping keep the time going by, but also like something that's been bringing you joy?
I have never watched The Real Housewives before, even though my thesis was basically on The Real Housewives.
That's right. Oh my God, we need to share a clip of that on the pod or the
Yeah,
Instagram
the
pod, yeah.
Instagram for sure. But I've been watching The Real Housewives of New York. I'm on season 10 now, and I started it a couple
What?
months ago or a
Also,
month
why'd you
ago.
choose New York? Because it's like the
Well,
OG.
Bridget was watching it, my friend. So we've been watching it together and texting with Mary Ellie. So that's been our kind of like bonding thing to do like virtually. So we'll like talk about it. And it's kind of just fun to watch like these rich old divorced ladies get drunk and fight each other. So yeah, I want to get into Atlanta and all that, but I watched Beverly Hills. That was the only one I really ever got into. So I thought New York was the next step, I guess.
I did watch Atlanta when it first started. Woof, and they like just tossed so many of those women off the show, or maybe they quit like for their own dignity. I don't know. But yeah, like it's just really funny. And I who could forget the famous like table scene with like Lisa Rinna and what I forgot. I don't know her name, but she's like, and let's not forget about the husband.
Don't you dare talk about my husband. She like smashes the glass, and like Kyle goes running. And my favorite housewife of all time is Brandy Glanville because she was always like pretty real because she didn't have as much money as these other women. She lived in the valley, so they all judged her, and all of that
Doesn't she
happened.
have like isn't she a singer?
No,
Oh,
she used to
Brandy
be
is the
married.
one who was married to the guy that Leanne Rhymes like
Mhm.
stole from her, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Uh,
Is he actually attractive? Like,
I mean to me, but I've also been quarantined. Like you
yeah,
can't
you
ask
can't
me
trust
anything.
that.
But after that whole fight with all the glass and stuff, she's the only one still sitting there. She says, "Wow, there's like glass in my skin." That was her like
Yeah,
reaction
it's like
to
no urgency whatsoever. It's just like, huh, mm,
Hmm,
OSHA violation.
cool.
Hmm. Oh, that's really interesting. And like that's the show that you picked of all shows, huh? And also I'm
I
kind of yeah, I'm
know.
shocked myself for someone who loves reality TV that you kind of stayed away for so long.
That's the thing is I've always been kind of a prude. I know it's like embarrassing, but like I didn't watch Jersey Shore until it was way off the air because some in my head I'm like I love reality TV, but I'm too good to watch that. Like, please.
I know, right?
But I
You have
loved Jersey
taste.
Shore when I watched it. Yeah, But I've been really into reality TV, specifically that. I've been attempting to learn Portuguese. I work with someone who lives in Brazil, so he's been helping me with Portuguese, and I attempt to help him with English, but he speaks English almost perfectly. Uh,
So
so
he
it's not
like
a fair
doesn't need your
trade-off at
help.
all. Literally, no. He always says I'm helping, but like just here and there with like really complicated words that I can hardly say in English. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I can say like obrigado, just thank you. And, a lot of just the cute little sayings. Like they have one in Brazil, tamo junto, which it means like we're all in this together, like we're working together. So that's how we like end all of our emails and stuff. TMJ, tamo junto.
Oh, that's really sweet.
And I think it makes me excited because I like to think like I'm gonna be able to travel again one day. So I'd love to go to Brazil and
Oh,
know a little bit of
girl, I've like
Portuguese. You
given
know,
up on that.
all I
Yeah,
can think about is travel because like I'm a runner. My therapist said that like because I'd always be like, oh, I have another trip coming up, and he's like, that's because you're a runner. Like you want to get on a plane to just avoid all of your problems for a couple weeks. And I'm like, maybe.
You're like,
and
yeah,
now
yeah, I do.
and
Huh.
now I can't do that at all.
Yeah,
And
you're not
but
up to diamonds anymore.
I've been okay. I thought, I mean, obviously I've had my ups and downs like all of us have, but I think I've handled all of this a lot better than I thought I would. Because I used to hate spending time with myself, but I feel like it's kind of like rejuvenating now. Obviously, I'm sick of it. I'm over it, but like I feel like I'm okay with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, I have a trip planned in like late October, which I bet is going to
Yeah.
get canceled. Like, I
Yeah.
think around the time that they announced shelter in place, I had just received my global entry card that I had to go to the airport to interview for, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad I got this because I'm fucking going nowhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I who knows though? I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I feel like a lot of people are traveling still because you can, but I don't know. It's just too risky for me. I feel like every time I fly, I get a little sick anyway, just from being around people. I can't imagine with this virus going on, sharing a plane with anybody.
Yeah.
Freaks me
Well,
out.
that brings me to another thing. So, with COVID happening, and shelter in place, it seems like people tend to make jokes about Armageddon and the apocalypse because it just seems like everything is hitting us. Like I know at one point there was like the murder hornets or like those giant like bees, which like I mean I don't know like what the actual statistic is on like how many deaths they caused in 2020. It seems like they came and went. Um, and then also, with everything else that's been going on in America, one conspiracy or big thing that came up um, is the Wayfair furniture collection that I wanted to bring up because I thought this was really bizarre. And don't get me wrong, there's like a ton of headlines, but this one really stuck out to me. And it's one of those things where I'm like, do we have too much time on our hands? Like, are we just home too much and now we're just like creating things? But basically, to bring everyone up to speed, it sounds like Wayfair, they are a producer of like furniture and things like that. And basically, they have these really high price ticket items on their website, like, I don't know, what would you call them? Like dressers, wardrobes, things like that, that are all have like names of children, and they're all like
They're
9 to 15,000.
yeah, they're allegedly military grade storage, and that
Right.
was how they pitched that the price was actually the price. If
And
if I were their PR team, like playing, let's pretend like this either is or isn't happening, it doesn't matter. But if I worked on that team, I would say that is a typo. They're supposed to be $159, not 15,000, and I feel like they'd be out of the water like that. I don't know why they're going. Maybe because it is true. Maybe they are that expensive, but I don't know. It just seems really bizarre that they're going the route of saying no, that's correct. Like,
so, yeah, really expensive ticket items, right? Okay. Bizarre, but whatever. So they have names of children, but apparently a couple people connected the dots that some of these names that they share or they share with missing children. And now, maybe this is hot off the heels of like, I know that Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich documentary and people, and also that anonymous leaking, apparently those documents that apparently they were already out there. So I don't know if it was really a leak, but basically people are insinuating that Wayfair is trafficking children through the sale of these high ticket items. And yeah, Ryan, like, I think you kind of dug in a little bit more on the information of like how the wholesale or the way the website was structured or whatnot. But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, just from like a headline perspective, it's pretty crazy.
It is crazy, and like that's what really shook me was when people found articles of missing children with the same name,
Hmm.
because it wasn't names like the Joseph or something.
Yeah.
They were more like specific names. I can't remember any of them right now. I don't know if you have them in front of you, but um, that's what really shook me. But Wayfair is basically a reseller. They work through drop shipping, which basically means that they don't ship anything out. They Once they get a sale, like say you bought one of these dressers, they then take your money, take the amount of the actual dresser, buy that dresser, and then have it shipped to you. They kind of work as an in-between man. So it is possible, if this is child trafficking, that Wayfair has no idea about what it is. It's just, somehow this reseller got into the system, kind of like Amazon Marketplace or something. So that's also another thing that kind of makes it more realistic to me that it could be trafficking. But all in all, it is a really bizarre circumstance. And their explanation is also just bizarre because they're kind of just saying, like, no, this is a normal listing.
Well, what's like really blowing my mind is they're like, oh, there's no, like, it's baseless. Okay, but like, where's the stuff debunking it? Like, I just don't see that. And I think
Mhm.
one of the things that came up that also, like, everyone's like red flag went up on is that there was like a photo of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who's been like, she was linked as an associate to Jeffrey Epstein. There was a photo of her with the president of operations at Wayfair. So
I didn't see that.
yeah, so that was
Okay.
another thing that people were like getting a little iffy about. But yeah, I guess like the Wayfair team um, mentioned that like there's no truth to these claims. The products in question are industrial grade cabinets and they are accurately priced. Yeah, it like I don't know. I do feel like their debunking was a little bit like whack, but you know.
I think it should definitely be investigated. And I also think you should boycott Wayfair anyway because they provided the quote unquote beds for the cages that children are trapped in at the border. So that's why Wayfair had a big walkout. I know a lot about it because
Hmm.
Wayfair is in Boston. So like I know a lot of people who
Oh,
have
I
worked
didn't know
there and
that.
who have quit. Yeah, I've applied to work there multiple times, so boycott them because they don't like me anyway. But yeah, after all of that, because literally their employees said like we don't support this and we don't think you should be supplying these beds and all of this, and they said then leave, and they did. But I hate those types of corporations that like don't value their employees or care what their employees think. I don't think. I mean, I know that's a lot of corporations, but honestly, I'm going through this whole journey learning about all of this stuff where I'm so anti-corporation now too. That yeah, it only took me 28 years.
I think we're all getting there, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
You know, um, I think one of my big takeaways from this quarantine is just like really seeing the ins and outs of like performative allyship with everything that's been brought to the forefront. Given the protesting, the activism that's been going on, which, obviously was going on before this, is just,
Hmm.
I think all of us collectively have found our power to, one, in protest, but also to like, put the pressure on these corporations to do better from like a diversity in talent, but also like put your money where your mouth is. Like all of these companies say that they have these values. I don't give a shit if you say you have values. I want you to act on them. Otherwise, you don't really have them. And so it's just really been funny to see a lot of these companies struggling to follow up the right way. It's kind of
Yeah.
been embarrassing to see as well. And I don't know if you spend much time on LinkedIn, I always like log into LinkedIn when I want to laugh and see a lot of people lie through their fucking teeth about shit, but it's just been hilarious to see companies, everyone make their black background, white text, like we stand with like voices. Like there was one from a company, it said we stand with voices, with like unheard voices or something like that. And I commented and I was like, which voices? What's the work you're doing? We'd love to hear more. It was such a vague shit post. Like I couldn't. Yeah, and that, and also it's been great to see Black men and women like post on LinkedIn and see like and share like, listen, this is not hiring diverse talent doesn't it's not something that your white HR lady is like gonna be able to do and assess and can do accurately. Like you actually need to hear from these Black and brown and like other people of color, their voices.
Yeah, and I hope everyone at home listening also thinks of the underpaid graphic designer who had to make all of those banners with awful copy that makes no sense on LinkedIn.
We're back, and it's time for a cooling refresher to cleanse our palates. Today's refresher is the Free Britney cocktail. Ryan, you are a resident Britney expert. I don't know if it's been like the past like 1 or 2 years, but like for those who don't know, Britney Spears, famed number one like pop singer of the world, has been under a conservatorship, which I think it's like under her dad. Her dad manages it. And there's been like this recent movement called like the Free Britney movement, where basically people don't feel that she actually is like in full control of her life and that she's being aggressively controlled. And like, all her fans are pretty much like scavenging through her Instagram posts and like trying to decode all her language to find out what's really going on. So as our Britney expert, do you want to speak a little bit more to like what the current situation is and why fans feel this way?
Right, yeah. So Brittany has been in a conservatorship for 12 years.
It's been 12 years? Oh
Yeah,
my God. Here I am. I was like, yeah, it's been like 2 years or something.
it's been 2 years since people have been speaking up, but yeah, it's been 12 years. And basically, in her conservatorship, it was originally temporary for 2 years. And basically, the way they got it was they said that she had dementia and that she was not capable of making
What?
her own decisions. This is all legal documents. And he ended up getting it to become permanent. Um, so basically, in her conservatorship,
He,
she,
like her dad,
yes, sorry,
Jamie Spears.
Jamie Spears. So she can't hire her own lawyer. She can't drive. She can't get married. She can't vote. She actually posted a picture with Hillary Clinton saying I'm with her because she like met her and stuff, but they actually made her take that part out of the description on Instagram, the caption, because she can't vote. Um,
Like forever
so
until she's like out of
until
this
she's out of
conservatorship.
this conservatorship, because they say that she is not mentally stable enough to make decisions. But after the conservatorship, she was a guest star in How I Met Your Mother. She was a judge on The X Factor. She had one of the highest grossing tours, the circus tour in 2008,
I love that
which
album, by the way.
she's literally dangling from the sky and like all these other, so she can remember all this choreography, but she can't um you know vote or decide what to have for dinner. It's insane, and it's all for money, and
Yeah,
that's
like the
it.
the first thing that comes to mind when you mention all this. Okay, first of all, extremely abusive, but also the fact that like she spent all of her youth because she was gained her fame from being on like Star Search, right, and Mickey Mouse Club,
Hmm. Yeah.
to like making money for all these people as a child, like working, never really getting to have that childhood. And then as she's an adult, she's been married, she's had children, and she still is like making all this money for other people, which like I'm sure part of it is just like, yeah, she wanted to do a lot of these like career jumps as well. But the fact that like she is not being deemed worthy or like autonomous enough to be able to make these decisions for herself is insane.
And what her father uses against her to keep this going is he always threatens that he'll take away her children, and that's the only thing
God,
she cares about. But now she doesn't even get to see them. she
really?
is she's like locked at home. Basically, she gets to see her boyfriend, who could possibly be a handler, who knows.
Yes,
um
heard that
I know
theory.
That's a conspiracy for sure. I don't know necessarily that, but I do think that he is pretty fame hungry. He is very like controlling of like what she posts and things like that. So
What
like
gives you that idea?
there's videos of him like when they're doing their little workout videos and stuff, you can hear him say smile. And like on red carpets and stuff, he'll be like kiss me and like all this like really direction stuff. But
Ew.
I think that's more fame stuff. Like he wants to have a picture of him kissing Britney Spears on a red carpet, or he wants, the workout videos to look fun so that people, buy his workout programs and things like that.
Oh, does he sell those?
Yeah, he's a personal
Oh.
trainer, and he does all of that stuff. But yeah, it's just the crazy stuff is that this conservatorship continues, even though she has proven time and time again that she is capable of doing tremendous things. Her Vegas residency fixed the entire economy of Las Vegas. And
Oh my God, really?
the reason it was her new show was canceled was because she refused to take medication because she felt she was being over medicated, and she wasn't allowed to choose her own doctor. She had to go to a doctor her father chose. So he basically
So she's
said,
not doing Vegas at all anymore?
no, he said, this is from one of the producers of the show. They wouldn't identify who they were because they probably have an NDA, but they said to a phone call somewhere, I wish I had the source, basically saying that he said that you aren't going to be able to do the show anymore then if you refuse to take your medication. And she refused to take the medication, so he canceled it and basically blamed it on his health, saying that his health was declining and she wanted to be with him, but he was out fishing and playing golf like 2 weeks later.
Wow. God, that's really fucked up.
It's a really scary situation, in my
So,
opinion.
yeah. Okay, so that's really great background. I actually didn't know. I was kind of like a Britney fan when I was like a kid. I had the like, I think I just heard it was like the 25-year anniversary of Drive Me Crazy, or do you know that song, You Drive Me Crazy?
Do I know that song?
Well, like I think it was yesterday, but I had that doll, the green sparkly tank
Oh
top, and it was like
yeah.
the theme song for the movie Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart and
Hmm.
Adrian Grenier or whatever, which was like
Yeah.
such a fucking random ass movie, but whatever. That song, like, what isn't there like some trivia that like the movie was named that because of the song or something like that?
Yeah, because they wanted to promote the song. I forget what the original name was, but yeah,
That
they
song
changed it
was
to Drive Me Crazy.
so much better than that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I I feel like there's a little bit of a schism between like Britney's fans too on the internet. There are people who are like, stop with these conspiracies, stop with the free Britney shit. Like it's really, really dark and it's really invasive. Like she just genuinely might be like typing this babble on like Instagram and like that's
I
just how
mean,
she talks. And then
I
there are people who are
agree
like, yeah,
to an
like let's save
extent.
her. So like where do you fall on that spectrum? And what do you think of people who are like, stop with this conspiracies?
Thank you for asking. Honestly, because I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning I was like, oh my god, leave this woman alone. She's been through enough. Like, why are we drawing all this attention? But then, uh, I do think she does post things for attention, like on Instagram. I do think she does want people to talk about it. I I always came from a standpoint where it's like I'm not a doctor and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm also not her doctor, so I can't tell you. Maybe she is mentally unfit, but when actually doing research and like reading the court documents, I can wholeheartedly tell you, as not a doctor, that she does not have dementia. At least, like she can
Yeah.
remember choreography, she can um, do all these shows. Like, please, but her Instagram posts, a lot of them, like she'll post a beautiful landscape that'll be through a window or something, and she'll be like, like one caption is, "There's always a way out. This looks like paradise," and she'll post pictures of like a giant keyhole with like a world outside, but then it's like darkness and with no caption
Oh my
and
God,
things
that's
like
really
that. I do feel
sad.
like there's a picture of a little girl. She's like behind bars, and she's poking her head through, and it says, "This picture speaks for itself." And
Oh, Brittany.
her original video for "Make Me," which was her comeback well, they're all comeback singles. They always call it a comeback, but
She
was
never went
David
anywhere though.
right? It was David LaChapelle who directed it, and he had this whole vision for it. And she said, "I'll do whatever, but I just want to have a scene in a cage." And that was like her one request. And people think that's her saying she wants everyone to know that she's locked in a cage. And then they ended up scrapping the video. And it just became some gross video with like G-Eazy, like being gross.
I mean, he is, so.
But yeah, it's stuff like that. Like when you hear about that, David LaChapelle like verified all of that on his Instagram and talked about it. So it's fishy.
Yeah, and wasn't there a post that like I think it was like a Britney fan page made, and it was like, you know, she's a grown woman, like why can't she make her own decisions? Like why has she been like doing this for so long? And then like one of Britney's sons liked it on Instagram.
Yeah, and her mom likes a lot of comments of people saying like, do you think Britney is trapped and like all this stuff? She'll like them.
Is her mom still with her dad? No, right?
No. Her mom actually wrote a tell-all book a long time ago saying that Jamie is a raging alcoholic with control issues. And Britney's son has, Kevin Federline actually sued Britney's father for hitting his son, Sean Preston. So he does have anger issues, but it was dropped because there wasn't sufficient evidence.
Oh my God. I didn't know that. So, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But
and what is it going to take to break this conservatorship?
A judge, and the judges just like, honestly, they're not having it. And like, so Britney's team, it's really Jamie's team. There's a woman named Luann Taylor, and she is like the villain of this story. She originally reached out to Dina Lohan back before Britney's breakdown to get Dina to get a conservatorship on Lindsay, saying you'll be able to make all of this money because you can prove that Lindsay is unfit. And her father wanted in too, but then Luann realized that no judge is going to grant Dina and I forget his name right now, but the Lohans custody over anyone because they are more messed up than Lindsay was. And after the whole Britney breakdown, she saw a vulnerability in there, and she was able to get to her father and say, hey, look, you know, I can help. And it was always these things of that she's coming from a place of help and all of this. And she became Britney's new manager because she basically said, we can't trust Larry, who is Britney's longtime manager, to take care of her. You need to take the reins. Like, your daughter's unsafe and all of this. So it came out of a place like that. And I think Jamie really does like the power, and he likes the money. Like when Britney was doing Vegas, he was getting paid $16,000 a month, a stipend, and $2,000 a month for rent. So that's $18,000 for doing absolutely nothing. And he gets 1.5% of her earnings from that particular tour.
Ugh, what a freak.
And
horrible.
Yeah, all of that is just so sad and bizarre. And people have tried to expose her, but Luann literally sues fans who bring it up. So be careful. Maybe we should block out her name. No, I'm kidding. We'll be fine. No, she sued a fan, and a fan actually won. But they had like a GoFundMe for their legal fees because they couldn't afford anything.
I can imagine.
But that's that situation. It's very, I've learned a lot recently because I've just been reading so much about it because of this quarantine. It's a lot more serious than I thought it was, to be honest.
Absolutely. I feel like you opened my eyes to this. And also I saw something as well. A fan had this one conspiracy and they suggested that Britney was being like trafficked. And like some of the hints that they used at that, or like evidence I should say, was that like her hair is mess and like, you know, things that like victims of like, human trafficking typically show, like, and she like, you know, everyone always uses kind of the examples of like, oh, she doesn't really communicate well. She's kind of dressed up like a child still. Like I'm looking through her Instagram right now and it's all very baby doll-esque. And that just might be like her own personal style. But one thing I do think is really weird is a lot of her poses, and maybe this is a pose she likes, is the like kind of like face tilted down, eyes looking up. It's like, it's very much like, there's a name for that. And I forgot. It's like, there's a name for that, but basically it's just like coquettish like stare. Basically, it's like kind of like not seductive, but it's like looking at you, looking into your eyes, but at the same time being like demure, I guess. So basically, That conspiracy for me pushed me a little over the edge. I think that's a little bit too much. Like, I really hope she's not being trafficked. I wouldn't
I
believe so, but like, and also the evidence that they use. I'm like, I just think that like she likes doing her own makeup and playing around and all this stuff because she's been robbed of being able to experiment with her own image for like
mhm.
decades at this point.
I agree. I think honestly, when you look at trafficking, it really is just a way to make money, and people are making enough money off Britney Spears as it is.
Yeah.
So I don't see that viable, honestly. I think it could be two things. I totally agree. I think she does like doing her own makeup and she likes to like choose her own look. But I do think Britney's smarter than people think, and
Yeah.
I think she likes to look disheveled because she wants people to be worried, and
Yeah.
maybe they'll investigate it more. But
That's a
also,
really,
the
really
other
smart
side of
thing.
it though is like I feel like she'd also be scared to look disheveled because she doesn't want her kids taken away, even though they virtually are. She only gets she it dropped down to like 10% before COVID of her custody, and I can't even imagine what it is now because I feel like they can totally use COVID as an excuse to be like, like you have your boyfriend there, we don't want, you know, who knows who he's interacting with, we don't want the spread of the virus to affect the kids or something.
So it's 10% because of the conservatorship, because like her dad is like, you're not even capable of like managing your kids, let alone yourself. Is that it?
So that's Kevin. He wants more custody because he gets more
Money.
child, yeah,
It's
support.
support. Yeah. What's her relationship
Um,
with Kevin now?
it's not good. Um, just
Really?
because he's constantly suing her for more money because he thinks he deserves more money,
Oh, it's sad.
and she doesn't even get to be in charge of her finances. So he knows that he'll win because like Janie will just pay it.
Ew.
It's sick.
What does Kevin Federline do anymore?
Collects checks from Britney Spears. Like honestly, that's his income.
Oh my God, you know what I'd love if we could just like have him on the show.
Oh yeah.
One day we'll get there. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's just funny, like every now and then she'll kind of pop up into the news cycle and people be like, look at this fucking crazy dance she did. Like she just did this interpretive dance recently and then I know the one where she's like, yeah, I burned my dim down, like, and like everyone just really took that and like ran. I was like, I don't know, I think she was kind of like joking, being flippant like that, but I don't know. I feel like everyone's trying to like be like, haha, look how fucking stupid she is. And I'm like, I think she's in on the joke. Like that's why she said it
Yeah.
and posted it. And what was the other one where she was like, I'm skinny as a needle. Like everyone really loved that.
Well, only because and this is actually true. The paparazzi pictures they post, you can literally see videos that she's taken that same day where she looks so much thinner. I really do think they photoshopped them to make her look a little bigger because that gets more clicks, and people like to see that. They're like, "Oh, Britney's body's ruined," like all of this. So she said the video is bizarre, but she's like, "I think that they're photoshopping my pictures, and this is a conspiracy I'm very interested in, and I'm going to be doing more research." And she's like, "Look at me now. I'm skinny as a needle." But
I
I
really
agree
love
with
her
her.
conspiracies.
Like,
Like her, what was her other conspiracy when she's like, global warming is really interesting, or like Lady Gaga's a cool artist, or something. What was it? That tweet?
okay, it was because she was answering multiple questions in one tweet, so it made her look
Oh,
nuts. But like, she literally had a list of questions she was answering from people tweeting her back in like 2008. So she said, "I think Lady Gaga," because someone must have said like, "What do you think of Lady Gaga?" And then right after it, someone must have said like, "And what do you think of global warming?" Because she said like, "I think Lady Gaga is a really interesting artist." And does anyone think global warming is a good thing, or something like that?
damn.
Yeah. So
Our
they did her a little
environmentalist
dirty
queen.
there.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, what do you think of
Lady
I
Gaga, I
guess
think
like I
she's a really
haven't
interesting
visited her.
artist.
I haven't like really visited her Instagram in like a century, I feel like, but looking through right now and I'm like, God, I still feel like she dresses like she's 16 or 18 or something.
Well, she also can't buy clothes because she doesn't have any access to her money. So I feel like she wears clothes that she's had since she was put in a conservatorship 12 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and you know what kills me is I feel like throughout her career, excuse me, she just always has these horrible, horrible, like predatory men. Like all her boyfriends, they're just so bad. Like Kevin Federline alone. Like, so what was his story? He's like a backup dancer, got really
Mm-hmm.
close to her. Um, he's kind of just like a trashy dude, and like they
Mm-hmm.
would splurge on experiences and shit like that. And then they had their show Chaotic, which truly was like showed how chaotic their relationship
Mm-hmm.
was.
The
And
perfect name.
yeah, I mean, they were definitely getting high in that show, right?
I cannot confirm nor deny any illegal activities that Britney
You
Spears may
literally always tell me that story about how that one time she gets like scared talking about aliens. Like she's definitely
Yeah,
high.
she was. Well, I think she was smoking pot. I don't want to say high because people can misconstrue that to like meth or something. I don't think she was doing anything hard. I think she was doing recreational cannabis with her
Okay, well, I
boyfriend.
didn't say that they were doing like
I
hardcore
know. I
drogas.
just
I'm just,
want.
yeah.
Well, because
You're
a lot of
like
people.
on the record. I'm not going to smear my queen's name.
A friend of hers actually said in an interview somewhat recently, maybe like 4 years ago, that Britney used to lock herself in the bathroom a lot because she had to cry because she was upset with the paparazzi and everything. But people would always say she's doing drugs. And that made her even more upset. And she said, honestly, the root of all of her problems were the men in her life. It was
Yeah.
her father, who she can't trust, the men she brings into her life she can't trust, the men that are chosen to be in her life she can't trust. Um,
Yeah.
she
Because
she really is a product of that. It's sad.
she was on like Jive Records too, right?
Hmm.
At one point. So she also had that really shitty manager. Was his name Lou Pearlman? I don't know if that's right. He also
I
managed
know,
NSYNC. So it was
yeah,
like
but
apparently.
Lou Pearlman never managed Britney Spears.
Oh, he didn't.
Um, but I'm sure he had some sort of influence over something because he was a really big name over there.
Yeah. Um, and then also the one guy I'll never forget is Adnan, right? That was his name.
At,
He was like
at
he was a paparazzo.
Adnan Galib, he
What
was a
was the story behind that? I know on The Soup, that show on E, they used to always play this one clip of him where he's like, they asked, is someone on, I think it's like Entertainment Tonight is interviewing Adnan, and
mhm.
they're like, the last question of the interview is they're like, well, is it over? Like, are things between you and Brittany over? And he goes, no, they're far from over. And like, they would always reuse that clip because it was
No,
such an iconic line.
also,
And things were like absolutely over. I don't think she ever talked to him again
oh
after
yeah,
that.
no. That same interview is when I forget the question they asked, but basically his way of saying, you know how people say like, why do people climb mountains? You
Yeah.
know, his answer was yes, but he said, does she wear her hair up in a ponytail? And they're like, what? I don't understand.
Oh my
That
God. I
that
need that
interview
clip.
was that interview was chaotic for sure. Yeah, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know a lot about the relationship with Adnan. I think that was definitely a part of her life and my life that I didn't want to focus on it because I think I genuinely was scared. It's it's definitely a sad time in Britney history.
Yeah, so apparently he was like, him and like they were saying, Adnan and Sam
Sam
Luke
Sam Lutfi.
were fighting over her or something, and like,
Hmm.
Adnan was like not divorced, but he was separated, and there was like a rumor that he allegedly made a sex tape with Britney. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Apparently that's like in the rumor mill, and then after she was hospitalized for mental illness, they like broke up.
Okay,
But he was
interesting.
a photographer. He was like a British photographer.
Hmm.
Wow. God, I just remember he had that horrible like
Soul Patch,
it was just disgusting.
little flavor saver.
You always say that so gross. Yeah, like I just never understood it. Like what did he offer her besides that soul patch?
Sometimes that's all it takes. Am I right, ladies?
Yeah, and then wasn't there a guy that she was like engaged to, and then they broke up, and then she wrote like one of her albums about him,
She was with
Britney Jean.
actually, oh, her most personal album. Um, we don't talk about Britney Jean. That album never happened. Like, Work Bitch happened, but nothing else from that
Well,
album
I
ever
think I
happened.
remember because we were in college, and you were like, yeah, like what sucks is they broke up, and now every fucking song's a ballad on this album.
No, I mean, honestly, that album was a mess. It wasn't even, there were hardly any ballads. Um, that was produced by will.i.am, who, honestly, I'm unpopular here. I actually do like how will.i.am produces some music. I just do not like how he produced that album at all. That album was an absolute monstrosity, honestly.
But I thought that he like in an interview he was like, yeah, like it was basically a lot of her vision or something, right? Wasn't it for that album? Like
That's
she
lies. I do not believe that at all. I really don't.
lies.
I think it's all made up. Like, all the songs are just like those really repetitive, like bad pop songs that even I can't even get behind. And I love that kind of garbage. But
Wow.
it's just, all the songs are very much like, take the name of the song and just say those words over and over and over again on a beat, and that's it.
Damn.
But I mean, it had its moments. It's not, but if you ask any Britney fan about Britney Jean, they're all just going to pretend like they don't know what you're talking about.
Wow. Okay. And are we going to talk about Justin Timberlake and her life?
No, I'd rather not. All I know is that he painted her as the villain when he's the real villain, because he can't get his name in the news unless he brings her up still, 20 years later.
What did he do? What did he say that she was the villain for in their relationship?
They broke up because she kissed another guy. She kissed that choreographer who had that show on MTV.
Wade
The
Robson?
Wade Robson. And
No.
that's why they broke up. And she like came clean. She's like, I'm so sorry, but like I kissed Wade, and like, and then he just went straight to the media.
Oh, is that what Crimea River was about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's like why because I remember he had that one interview and he was saying like, do you ever think you're gonna end up with one person and then they totally fuck everything up and then
It's
was
like, you're
that
with
it?
18-year-olds. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just like,
relax.
really? The way he made it sound is like she fucking murdered his like mom or something.
Seriously.
I
Like,
don't
she
think it's
slept with
like,
her dad or something.
yeah, like I'm not saying, I mean, obviously if they've
I
entered
know.
this monogamous relationship
Sure.
and they have this
Mm-hmm.
understanding that they're going to stay faithful to each other. No, I totally get that. I get it. It's betrayal.
Yeah.
But like I just didn't it sounds like it wasn't really too serious. Like she came clean about it. Like she was mature enough to do that and know that probably things weren't going to like go on after that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess he really wanted to marry her.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's another one of those fame hungry monsters, to be quite honest. But
Well, I mean, what's funny is he ended up holding hands with another woman and publicly humiliating
mm,
his wife later on. So he got a taste of
yeah.
his own medicine, I guess. I don't know. Like to be so like, so
Take that moral
morally
higher ground.
superior and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, like as if, she was just this horrible monster. Huh. Wow.
That's a dark time too. It was honestly like the beginning of the end when it came to Britney's relationships, because I feel like she just,
You think she was like cursed after that?
I don't know about curse, but yeah, I do think like, I get it. Like, when you go through something, like, I can't imagine going through a breakup like that, and then with everyone knowing about it on the entire planet, and also everyone blaming you. You know, sounds
Wow.
pretty bad.
And we're back. So now we are at the part of the show, last call, where we talk about our favorite memes, whatever we found on the internet that we love, and just want to share with the rest of you. So, Ryan, what has been your favorite thing on the internet, meme or otherwise, that you've been really enjoying?
So on Twitter, someone tweeted, "What fictional character do you love but know secretly in your heart if they were real, they would have voted for Trump?" And
Oh,
the replies were actually pretty dead on, but one was Hank Hill, and that I really felt that, because like King of the Hill is my favorite show, like virtually ever. But then,
what?
so,
This is
I
news.
mean, one of my favorite shows is, I love. I mean, I am Bobby Hill personified, but
Definitely just spilled and spit my water.
No, that was dumb bitch juice. Uh, but someone said in an episode he refused to vote for George W. Bush because he found out they had a weak handshake. So I can't see him voting for Trump because, let's be real, those baby hands. And he was also, I need to like pull it up. He was a big fan of a Democratic governor. They made
Oh,
a
that's
big
right.
thing about that on the show. So I feel like that whole journey just made me feel a lot better because like I do think he would have voted Democrat. A lot of the characters they came up with, they were like they would have voted for Trump in 2016, but not in 2020. Like I love that.
Everyone was like splitting hairs. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love those kind of activities.
Yeah, and also I think I saw that and people were saying like, no, Hank Hill would not vote for Trump. He's strictly a John Kasich, John Kasich type of guy. Like he would never do that. I'm sorry, I just haven't seen that guy in a debate stage in so long. I honestly don't remember how to say his last name. Sorry, John. Uh, um, so my favorite meme of the week, I sent this to like everyone, even though I'm sure like no one gave a fuck, but it's like I guess there's like two things. One, it's it's a meme of like Snoop Dogg. I swear to God, I think this is him in that movie Bones, or it's like Bone Collector. I don't know if you remember that, or maybe it's him in Baby Boy. I think he was in Baby Boy as the villain. I cannot remember. It's been so long. But he just like is looking out a window and he's got his hair all done and he looks kind of mean. And the meme is like when they sit another family with you at the hibachi table. I really love that.
I feel that for sure. That's the one thing I hate about hibachi dining is having to share the experience with a stranger.
Thank you. I don't want to sit with someone else's annoying ass family because it might have been their 15th time doing it, might be their first time doing it, but either way, they have too much fucking enthusiasm for both. So I don't want to sit next to you. I don't want to fucking see you drop that shrimp down your mouth when they try and throw it in your mouth. Like I'm not into it. I'm not into it. And then yeah, the other thing is like right now I'm sure you've seen on Twitter and also on TikTok, it's exploding like all these videos of like Chinese like street fashion. Have you seen those?
I sure have.
Yeah, and it's so funny because my lover, he is Chinese and I like shared some of those videos with him and he was kind of like, what the fuck, this is not how like average Chinese people dress. Like, and he was saying like this probably takes place in Chengdu, which is like an area in China where like there's a lot of kind of imported American culture, mostly like hip hop too. So he's like, that's why like they're dressed like that, but that's like not typical. But yeah, it's like it's a video. I'll share it on the Instagram. It's like a video of some girl walking and she's like, this is how all those Chinese like street fashion videos are, and it's like a girl with like a normal torso and then her legs are like 10 miles long. I don't know. I just like I get jollies out of that.
I haven't seen that. That's hysterical. I mean, I've seen the original videos. I haven't seen the meme.
Well, it sounds like you just asked me to send it to you, so I will.
Or I can just go on the Instagram and see it. That's Dumb Bitch Juice Pod on Instagram.
That's right, Dumb Bitch Juice Pod. And on that note, I just want to say thanks for joining us on another episode of Dumb Bitch Juice. Make sure to follow, rate, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening. And follow us for memes and clips on our Instagram at Dumb Bitch Juice Pod, as Ryan said. You can also support us with a small monthly donation by going to the description of this episode and clicking on support this podcast to help us continue making content for our listeners like you. Bye.
Bye.
We did it.